Hello, let's carry on then. Apologies for that intermission. Technology, 1 hour, 15 minutes. So let's just fill in the rest of this table. I'm going to drag that down. You can see it looks a little bit ugly at the moment, but it's going to get tidied up. Now I've got too many rows going on, so that's my apologies for that. Just going to delete that row. That's it. There you go. So I'm just going to get rid of this ugly bit of text here. Excellent. I'm just going to move that back down. And I'm going to click on here and drag it above. Let's just move it down. So I'm just tidying up my page. There we go. Now, what we can do is move this across because it looks quite a bit of a gap there. So if you hover between it, see the cursor change shape to two lines. I can click and hold and I can just drag across slightly. And let's see if it'll do on this edge. So it's not going to do it there. So I'm just going to tidy them up so they look a bit consistent. And just leave it at that. So there you go. There's my last bit. Now you've got an extra slide to put in here somewhere with the other information, Koblenz. But basically, yeah, this is how to upload the text and place it in, and just making sure it's fit for purpose and it's on all the headings are consistent, the images are consistent sizes, etc., and they're next to the relevant text. What I'm going to do now is show you some transitions and animations. So with the transition, it's how the slide appears. Now you may have seen this in presentations where it comes in and it opens up like a curtain or it shoots up, things like that. So click on the transitions tab at the top. I'm going to choose one of these. Now there's an array of these. Outside the exam, by all means, have a look at them all and have a play with them. But for inside the exam, let's just meet the requirements, make sure we finish everything in the time allowed, which is plenty of time, and then you can go back and amend it if you want to. But let's just look at a couple. So I'm just going to click on reveal and let's see what happens. It's quite fast, that, isn't it? So we can slow it down. I'm just going to use one that's less push. Yeah, I think it's because I'm on that one. Let's click on the first one. My apologies. Let's do push again. Yeah, still a bit fast, isn't it? And we can see the duration up here is 1 second. So you could extend the duration to, I don't know, 3.5 seconds, let's say, and let's see what push does now. So maybe a bit slow, but you can amend that for yourself. Now, I can see up here, I've added a transition to here because I've accidentally done one because I was on the wrong slide there. But I've put a transition in here. You can see by the asterisks. All I'm going to do is say apply to all, and it will copy that a transition to every single slide. So that's the transitions done. Looking for animations now. So if I click on an item, you could select a bit of text, you could do anything, but I'm going to click on an image and I'm going to animate this. So you might have seen it before where something comes in, spins around, shoots off, or floats in, different things. Now, for City and Guilds, you could be asked to do animations and transitions. For Pearson's, I've only seen transitions. I've not seen them ask you to do an animation, but it's a useful tool, so it's nice to know. So we're going to click on the animations tab. I can see, I just realised I've got my hat on, my apologies. It's a bit chilly in here. I can see I've got loads of animations going on here, and again, I can use the drop down and there's an array. So there's all these entrance ones, so how it appears, there's all the emphasis to give it, a different format as it comes in, and then you could exit the animation, so you could enter it and exit. You could put it in follows lines, so you may have seen somewhere someone's cycling a bike and going along. Now you don't need to do any of this for the exam, that's way above level 2 level. However, we just need to possibly show an entrance one. So you've got to choose one of these. Let's just have a look. And this is the thing, it's me looking at it thinking, oh, which one shall I choose? So let's have a look at a wheel. Let's see what it does. I mean, that's not too bad, actually. That's quite a nice speed, isn't it? But again, we could change the duration of it, make it slower or faster. Just make sure it's consistent. Now, the other buttons they may ask you to do is here. Now, we can see that animation, now that I've highlighted, we can see it's a 1 there. We can see that it will start on a click. So when this page appears, that image won't appear until I click the button again. However, you could say start with previous, so when the slide opens, it will come with the slide. Or you could say after previous, and there's a delay. So I'm going to let you play with them, because Normally in the exam it'll just say add an animation, and it'll just be on a click or with the previous. They won't stipulate, but it's nice to know, because if you're doing a presentation where no one interacts with you, similar to this one, I could put them with after previous and have a time gap, and as I'm talking, then eventually the next slide will appear as I get to that piece of text, and it just looks so professional. The issue with that is if someone asks me a question, I'm stuck, because I'll be thinking, oh, that image is going to pop up in a minute. So animations and transitions, that's them. Let's just come down to here and let's open up a new slide. Title and content. I just want to show you some other things. So let's just say that we have some smart art to add. They may have a hierarchical format for their organization, and they want you to put it in order so you can add it. So let's add this one now. So I'm going to insert smart art, and we can see you've got a list of different headings here. So there's lists, different formats, there's where's the hierarchy? There we go, the hierarchy one. So we've got all this going on. So if they did give you a structure of an organization, you could click on one of these, say, and you could enhance it. So you could put the managing director there, the team leader there, and the different sections are the people's names who are in charge of different sections there. So that's just an interesting one for hierarchy and lists. I'm just going to go back one. Now let's just say they said on this slide here, I've clicked on Trier, they want this to be linked. I want you to put a web link onto this so that people can click on that and they can go straight to a website all about Trier. So how we do that one is we're going to highlight the text. We're going to come up to insert, and we're going to go to link. There's a few that I've been playing around with, but you're going to come down to insert a link, and we can see that it says Trier, and it's telling you where to look in the documents. Now you could put the address in here. So in the exam, if they're asking you to link something to a website, they could say to you, I'm going to make this one up, cycling.o.uk, let's say. So you could do this. Now you could also link to another slide if you want, or to something in your folder, and then come back to the slide. It's a fabulous tool, but for the exam, this is about as much as I'll ask you, just to link that, to highlight that as a hyperlink so that it can be used in a presentation and go to further information. So if I press OK, you can see it's changed color, and when you hover on it, you can see the link telling you what to do. Control and click to follow. That's links. Now we're coming to the end of PowerPoint, and I've got a bit fast, and we can go over this again and again. So don't. If you've got any questions, please email me. So what we're thinking about now is the design and other images. So what it may ask you to do, I've said in here that it's, this type of slide is lends itself to additional information. But what they may ask you to do in here is put in your chart from your spreadsheet. So it may be appropriate to put that in here. So this is the kind of things we need to think about. Make sure we use the correct slide formats. Design-wise, we saw when we created the master copy, we could have put some designs in. We could also see from here, we have the same designs going on. So if I hover on one, that doesn't look too bad, does it? But my logo top left-hand side, no, it doesn't look too bad. Try to find one that is not appropriate, possibly quite dark. The comparison between the text and the color at the back is conflicting, isn't it? So just make sure you play with these designs and have a look at them and see which one's appropriate. So if you get a presentation and you have to put a design in, you know which one to go through straight away. Now another thing you could do is put some format background in, because this is a form of design. So if I click on here, I can see I'm asking for a solid fill or a gradient fill. I can choose the color, and I could just choose a nice color. Doesn't look too bad, that, does it? Now, I've seen on some reports or some guidance that accessibility to presentations, etc., the best format is black text on like a straw coloured background. It's more accessible for a range of people with different needs. But again, play with it, have a little go, show it me. We'll have a discussion whether it's fit for purpose, because remember, we can't talk to our client. Our client is the exam board, and in the real world, we'd ring them up and ask them for advice. So if you were happy with this one, you would just make sure you apply it to all, because it's not been applied to these. So I apply it to all, and they've all got a bit of a design on the back. Right, so you want to spell check your old document, as I said before. So you can do it as you go along, or you can do it at the end. Review, spell check, and we can go through the spell check. I've just got 2 up at the moment. I'll just get rid of this formatting one. I can go through all the spell checking. Now I can see that this name is conflicting from the other one. Now this is what they've written and give me as a bit of text. I'm going to stay with this cylinder. I'm not going to change it. So let's resume the spell check. They're asking, yeah, I can see Clinder. It doesn't say the same as that one, do it? So I'm going to just mend this one and everything. So you've got to be careful with your spell checking. I won't change names of places because I don't know if they're correct or not. So I'm going to go with them. But certainly with this one, I would amend. So please be careful of that. I'm just going to end the spell checking. I'm going to look at anything else I've got to say. Yes. So you want to have a look at this before you upload it and save it. So we're going to go to slideshow, and then we're going to go from the beginning, and we'll have a look at our slideshow. We can see the transition coming up. It looks formatted okay. Now remember I said about that image, it won't come because I had it on click. I click and my image appears. I can see the difference between the border and no border. I'm going to leave that up to you, but my advice would be put a border. On the next one, it's quite a slow transition, that one, isn't it? So I think I would change that. Yes, all looks good. I'm going to move on slightly. I'm aware of my time. You can see I've got table in. It's all balanced. It all looks nice on the page. This stands out because it's important and it's different from that. Let me just go back. There's one thing that was missing. Didn't see for some reason. And that was my... No, I did. My apologies. It was my animation. Thought I'd missed that for a minute, but it did happen. So the end show. Let's have a look. I'm aware of my time. I've gone for 12 minutes. I've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. So I'm just looking at my notes. Right. My tips are consistency. Make sure images are a similar size on the same page. Make sure the headings are all the same. So you would do that in slide format, creating a master copy. Footer evidence. So Pearson's exams, you have to add footer evidence here. So you go to insert and footer, and you have to put your name, your candidate number, and your centre ID in there. City and Guilds, only put the footer evidence in if asked. Yeah, a couple of more things. So City and Guilds, if you've completed this and you're trying to upload this to your and send it off to the assessor and it doesn't upload, it could be that it's too good. Basically, you've got too much colour in, your pictures are too large and things like that. So I would reduce some of the design, possibly reduce some of the size, do it one at a time, possibly reduce some of the size of the images and try to upload again because you've only got 1 megabyte of data. We'll talk about uploading on other things like Word, etc. So I would ask you to possibly, if you want to create this yourself, try it or make your own up, only 4 or 5 slides, and send it to me. So something about your favourite place in the world or your favourite food, your favourite hobby. Make one up, put some images in that are appropriate, have a play with the different things, animations and transitions, and send it to me, and I will feed back accordingly. So that hopefully has covered everything to do with presentations. Certainly for the exam, there is more that we can do outside of it. And the next video will be on Word documents. So we'll be looking at letters, newsletters, posters, menus, things like that. So thank you very much. See you soon.